Hebrew Israelites, people who's supposed to be in the truth, y'all treat Paul's epistles the same way as the Christians that you claim you're better than, you claim that you cut and destroy, you claim are so wrong. Right. Y'all be using Paul's letters the same way they do, right? Just wrong.
Now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
God, it's so important.
Well, I had to come on during the the verse, but you
know, right? Right? This is important. Context is important here. So why does he say what he said? People use that to say that monogamy, right? Madness. It has not. When it says let every man have his own wife. Let's go to chapter 5.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife.
That one should have his father's wife. So this is why he says, now concerning the things I wrote unto you, these things, or you wrote unto me, the incident that you told me about, that somebody had sex with their dad's wife. It is good for a man not to touch a woman, nevertheless to avoid fornication. Let every man have his own wife, meaning don't screw somebody else's wife, namely your father. Right. That's the context of that statement. It has no implications upon monogamy. Right? How much unity there is. There's unity in one cause. Work. Mm-hmm. We at Sicarii are in unison with our Iuic. It has no implications upon monogamy.
The discrepancy comes, for example, 1 Corinthians 7:2, where it reads, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. So many of the Israelites believe in polygamy, or polygyny as they call it today. So that caused an issue because, like myself, I said when I read that, it says let every woman have her own husband. So that was a discrepancy. So many of them want the multiple girlfriends, and from what I can read, I see one wife. Like it says in, I'll give you another one. First Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1, where it reads, let me read it. It says, this is a true saying, if a man desire the office of a bishop, he desires a good work. Bishop means leader. It says, a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach. So reading that, from what I'm seeing, it says one.
It has no implications upon monogamy.
Polygamy, or polygyny as they call it today.
It says, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
From what I'm seeing, it says one polygamy, or polygyny as they call it today.
Them brothers from Sicarii, they be speaking well on our behalves. A lot of time when people come against us, them brothers speak up when it's right. You know what I mean? Okay. For righteousness.
All praises. All praises.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It has no implications upon monogamy.
Polygamy, or polygyny as they call it today.
It has no implications upon monogamy.
Polygamy, or polygyny as they call it today.
All praises. All praises.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Polygamy, or polygyny as they call it today. Polygamy, or polygyny as they call it today.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Salute to you other elders and brethren, even you supporters of the faith, you few sisters, shalom to you as well, and shalom to the elect. So I'm going to try to make this quick if I can, a few scriptures, but I kind of think the intro says it all about the hypocrisy and, you know, what Jake does to make a name for themselves. And they don't care who they deceive, all in the manner of so-called uniting. Uniting means coming together as one. And Apostle Paul would one group doesn't believe everything Apostle Paul says is authenticated. The other group does. One group says Paul's writings and his scripture says it's hard to be understood, but they don't believe it was all from the commandments of the Lord. I did a video on that before. There was things that Paul was doing in the Pharisees and certain things, just like Yahushua was doing, and we'll get some scriptures on that, that they would have said the same thing to Yahushua, the one you call Jesus. But anyway, it's kind of disturbing how one teaches, and this is just one faction of what is being taught. One teaches, as I pointed out in here, about so-called polygamy. It's a made-up word, by the way. And the other one teach something totally different, that it's monogamy. You're only supposed to be with one because that's all he sees. Now, the people of Iuic, they just follow Bishop Nathaniel, and the people of Sicarii follows Sicarii. So you have two different variations of Israelite groups who claim they came together, but they formed a unity, so to speak, but they brought confusion to that unity, because if someone comes up and asks about the one wife, then there's an issue. One believes in the mark, right, in Revelation 13. The other one doesn't. So this is pure confusion. And I put in there that he read Sicarii, Chief Priest Alazar, I think is his name, he's called himself. You know, what was Apostle Paul was saying, he was breaking it down, and he broke it down correctly, you know, without going into the, you know, other context of it. But we see here, how in the hell are they united when you see this situation like it is? Now, there was a few people, I did a video on that one wife thing, and I went into the context, went into some commentary, and they agreed. They start, and these were people of Iuic. You know, you got all kinds of people. Our job is to try to reach the elect. So this is pure confusion. Let me get a scripture real quick. This is Matthew 23 and 25. Woe unto you, scribes and hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and the platter, but within are full of extortion and excess. So we're going to go in here to hypocrite, which goes to one who answers an interpreter, right? A stage player, a dissembler, a pretender. And it goes on down to the Strong's definition, an actor, which is a liar. You know, that's all hypocrite really means, a complete liar. Another definition, and this is all in the outline biblical usage. It means to make answer on a stage, right? Stage, to impersonate anyone, to play a part, to simulate, fiend, pretend, right? To simulate. I'm anxious to look up this word simulate, which I did before. So I remember a little bit about this word. That's why I want to go into it, which is basically an act, something that's not legitimate. To give an assumed appearance or effect of often or often with an intent to deceive, to imitate. So when you go back to this word hypocrite, it kind of goes back to a simulation of a liar. And it's all the good words and the fair speeches that will deceive the hearts of the simple. And they don't care. They should both be trying to come to an understanding of what this was talking about. Bishop Nathaniel, that's what he saw, and that's all he wanted to do. He didn't go deep and understand what Paul was talking about. The bishop must be blameless, have the husband of one wife. I did videos on that. I don't think I'm going to go into that. You know, basically, I'll go into a little bit of the history. Under the Roman, you know, they was following heathenistic ways. The Israelites have always merged other gods to the God of Israel, right? So the bishops, some of them had many wives. But he was saying blameless, the husband of one wife. It was actually talking about the wife, you know, because they would have 3-4 husbands already. This is why they quoted, when you go to the precept of John the 4th chapter with the heathen woman who, and he said, you have 5 husbands. But there's nowhere in the Bible where Yahushua got on any man, because clearly these men had other wives, and if it was a sin, somebody has to show me, and that hasn't happened yet, where Yahushua said, the one you call Jesus, you can't, you're sitting for having more than one wife. Somebody has to show me that. And it says the husband of one wife because of the adultery. And it also went to Greek customs that when a man's wife died, he wasn't to remarry again. That's just another faction of it. That's what that was going into. He wasn't supposed to remarry again. And to stay simple, he said, well, don't have no wife then because of the adultery, if it means that much. See, they was Pharisees that was boasting in the law. When they talk about make broad their phylacteries, they were literally making bigger phylacteries and setting themselves up like the Most High, right? And Yahushua wasn't with that, nor was Apostle Paul. Anyway, more on that. Moving on. Let's go to Ephesians 4. Ephesians 4. It says, there is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling, right? One body, one spirit. That's it. What is all that other stuff, man? Amos 3, I believe, 3, can two walk together lest they be agreed? That was actually going into a situation where you have different paths. And if two men, the Most High, always, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, through the spirit, it always took things. And when we wrote it, it came out spiritually. So these was a situation where men was going down a particular paths, and one wanted to go to one way, and the other wanted to go other way, and another one wanted to go another way. And that's when he said, well, can two walk together unless they be agreed? They would have to agree to go down that same path. So saying that polygamy is a sin on one path, monogamy is a sin, or let me say you can have one wife if you want, but you must push monogamy. That's another path, right? That's different paths. So if a man wanted to have one wife, he could have one wife. But Bishop Nathaniel also teaches that when the kingdom of heaven is established, Isaiah 4:1 will come into play, and a man will have more than one wife. I'm not making this up. So the Lord just, he's confused. 1 minute you shouldn't do it, and the next minute you're supposed to do it. That's bringing confusion. That's madness and confusion. Let me see if I read this one. Matthew 23:27. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites, you liars, you actors, for ye are like unto whitest sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful on the outside, but within are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness. Like a sepulcher, a grave, right? That looks beautiful on the outside, a tomb, so to speak, and they paint it all nice and make it look good, put a couple of windows in there. But inside is uncleanness and dead men's bones. Okay? It's just actors. Let's go to 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, right? And cunning craftiness. And that goes back by the teaching of men. And cunning craftiness, whereby they lie and wait to deceive. That's all that's happening. Nate has took on a 501c3, right? And there's things that he must cooperate with. Clearly he wasn't teaching this before. Clearly he wasn't teaching Jesus the Christ before. So, never, the Proverbs say, don't trust in man given to change. And that's what it seems like happened. Okay, 2 Timothy 4:3. This is the English Standard Version. For the time has come when people will not endure sound doctrine, teaching, but having itching ears, They will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions. This is what Sicarii has managed to do with the IUIC, to suit their own passions, because they both teaching in the law. And they both have an audience, and they both have a following, although they don't believe everything they says, you know. And then this also is going to other Israelites that says, I don't need a camp, I don't need a doctrine, and they wind up following somebody anyway that'll suit their own passions, right? And will turn away from the listening of the truth and wander off into myths, right? This is what happened. This is plain what we see has happened. So I just wanted to do a short video on this to show you the hypocrisy of these groups, that they're simulators, they're fraudulent, and they're actors. That's all I want to show them.